And in good news for Cenla, the Beaver Lake Renewable Energy Project is expected to move forward. Here's the latest on the nearly $2 billion project.
And obviously top of our list is attracting new industry.
A nearly $2 billion investment with a global partnership is moving forward with its progress to produce green methanol and provide a magnetic and positive economic impact to central Louisiana. How is that process looking so far?
Well, you know, when you're talking about a $2 billion project and something that's brand new, it just takes time. And I think people have been curious about what's happening with the project since the announcement.
Jim Michael, the project manager for the project, spoke to Alexandria Rotary members on updates on the new facility. The biggest update is the partnership between Sungas Renewables and C2X, which aims to accelerate the availability of green methanol in large quantities. Sungas will provide the technology, and C2X will develop, own, and operate those green methanol production facilities.
The C2X is wholly owned by AP Moeller Holding, and they're investing in these types of renewable methanol projects around the world: Australia, Spain, Egypt. So C2X really has a global outlook. But the good news is we're at the top of the list. The first project they want to do is with Sungas here in Rapides Parish.
That project will create more than 1,100 jobs during construction and generate between 300 to 400 indirect jobs, as well as 100 direct local jobs during operation, according to Louisiana Central.
The indirect jobs, the state has estimated approximately 390, but that's loggers, truckers, the people that it takes to get that wood to the facility. Just the purchase price of the wood that we're purchasing annually is well over $50 million a year. So that's money that's going straight out into the community.
Construction is expected to begin in 2026, with initial commercial operations starting in 2028.
We are very excited about this project. We have been since the announcement. And like I said, the new investment that's coming from C2X and the support that's behind that from AP Moeller and Maersk is huge in pushing this project forward.
All going into the growth of central Louisiana.